Let's play.
All right. Good morning, folks. Thanks for making it. It's awesome to be here. Yeah, come in. It's good to be among friends, family as well, ex-colleagues, colleagues, and participants. You may not believe it's my first in-person community talk. I have done it on Zoom. So I may be nervous inside, but hopefully things will go well. Yeah. So yeah, like Tanai said, the engineering paradigms have changed from 5 to 6. It's like Apple talk. You come in and I'm giving you one more extra. And paradigms is a very good word to think about. Paradigms are mental models, and today I want to build a live coding game. People have advised me not to do this, but let's see how it goes. And you will see how the behavior shifts, how I build the problem, how I interact with AI. And paradigms were there earlier as well, like object-oriented paradigm and functional and so on. Today we'll see how has it changed. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. So I'll talk for about 1 hour. Hopefully you will not sleep by then. The subject is about mostly introduction and norms in the beginning. Then we will go to live demos, mostly for about half an hour. I'll not just sit and code here. It's not a tech interview. I will narrate as well. Yeah. At the end, we'll zoom back out. It's always about learning principles and what you can apply. This is not about the tools you see here. It's not about the jargons I say per second. It's about what you can take back. Yeah. At the end, maybe 10, 15 minutes, we are going to keep it for questions as well. And I have many colleagues over here who know a lot more than me, like Prashant, Tamina, Peter, Tanay, Saurav, and also Rupak as well, and others. In case you want to ask them questions, talk to them as well. Yeah. All right. So the first thing is more difficult to learn than AI. So no distractions for 1 hour. If you can silence your mobile phones for 1 hour, unless you need to give a one-time password to somebody. So please do that. Otherwise, as I am coding, you'll be looking at your phone, and there is no point of you coming to here, right? And help me code. I know it's good to see people suffer when they do live coding, but if I'm stuck somewhere and got a dot wrong or here or there, and if you know I'm really not doing well, help me code. But don't stop me from coding. Let me continue coding, and if I make some mistakes, it's okay. But if I'm really stuck, help me out, please. And if your feet are not pointing towards me, like in general, I assume that you're not interested. So if you're not interested, if this is not useful, leave. It's completely okay. I would rather want you not to be here than to suffer, right? So in case you want to be here, stay here. Ask questions, but yeah, not while I code. Maybe after half an hour. Keep the questions with you. That's one exception I'll make if you want to take out your mobile and note down your questions. You do that. Share feedback, what you liked about it. It's the first time I'm doing the talk. There should be some loopholes. I want to improve. I want to do this again someday. Or if you didn't like something, also let me know. Yeah? Fair? Norms are good? Right. This is about me. Channappa, you can call me Chans. I'm the head of capability for India. What I do is to help equal experts grow as a consultancy. Consultancies usually need to keep growing because we need to contribute value to the client. We need to ensure that we hire well, keep the hiring bar high. We need to ensure our communities also grow, right? That's what my thing is to do. Previously, I have maybe written code for about 17 years. Some of it has got fed into LLMs, and that's why you see the bad code out there, probably. Last 6 years, I've done a bit of learning and development. Training was my calling, so felt like, yeah, it's a good paying job to teach and then to learn. So last 6 years, I've generally been in training gigs, how to train grads, how to work with partners, how to look at the supply-demand pipeline, and so on. So since the last 1 year, I have come back to Equal Experts. So some more questions on why I came back, I can talk about it later. I have been working on AI as the focus, but also we are looking at cross-skilling DevOps folks, data engineers, and also looking at consulting mindset as well. Yeah, so that's about me. And let's start with the paradigms. The first paradigm is called CHOP, or chat-oriented programming. This is about how we use AI as a thinking partner. So let's start doing that. I'll start with my first demo. Has anybody do you not know about rock, paper, scissors game? A raise of hands. Have you not heard of it? Okay. So that's why AI is going to help us today. So we are not going to write code with this mode. We are going to understand it, right? We are going to look at a domain model. So if I ask the ChatGPT, right, if I say, what are the rules of rock, paper, scissors game? So it's saying that 2 players play this game. It has 3 hand signs. Rock is this way. Then paper is an open hand. It's actually like a political party as well, not that. Then you have scissors. And you have this round robin kind of defeating rules, like rocks will, if you take a rock, you can crush a scissors, and scissors can cut paper. but paper can cover a rock, right? So that's how it works. But I also want to know, it actually says, right, best of 3 or best of 5. I know that there are 2 players that I know. These are the rules. Now I'm thinking, help me create a simple object model for 1 round, right? I just want to play 1 round in Java. I need the main classes for now. If you do this, as it says, right, you are able to look at if you are into like domain-driven design, you're sort of getting a shared vocabulary now. It's not a person, it's not an object, it's a player. 2 players are part of 1 round. A round has a result and so on. And it's suggesting some things like create a enum called move, have a class called player, player has a name and player makes a move, right? Looks quite okay. But one is there is significant friction to take this code to IDE. That's where we live as developers. So it's a good thinking partner. So what I'll do is, and I also don't agree on everything. I want to do it my own way. So I'll move on from the first paradigm. I'm quite happy with this. Like I've got object model, I've got a shared language. I'll now go to what is called as AI-assisted programming, wherein me as a human will still drive the code. I want to show the patterns to AI, and AI is going to follow what I ask it to do. Yeah, so let's do that. Now we'll switch the tool. If you could guess, as a Java developer, I'll go to IntelliJ. I have GitHub Copilot on. But prior to doing this, how many of you don't code every day here? Anybody who don't write code? Okay. You may need to live with me for the next 30 minutes or so. 30 minutes or so, you will not get as much value, but hopefully you will be able to understand it a bit later once I stop coding and then talk about things. Yeah. How many of you have never used AI to write code? All of you use it. Awesome. How many of you use primarily Cursor or Copilot? Few people. Okay. I saw some looks there. I think some of you don't use AI, but it's okay. I'll not let you tell me. How many of you use agentic tools like Claude or Rucode? Okay, the elite audience is also here. That's good. How many of you work with agent-to-agent architecture, agentic swarms? Expected. Okay. So there are good people to answer your questions for later as well. All right. So let's go to the second paradigm now, which is AI-assisted programming. Okay. All right. Let's come back now. Let's see void player 1 with rock, right? Rock should win. Completely. Let's not do this. With rock should win. I'll only go till here. And now let's create player 1 first. Earlier we had this as player and they had a hand called rock. Now this becomes better. The second player comes in with scissors. Then we had round. We go back and get the winner. And now actually I'll think properly and say round.play. That sounds better. Then come back and do the assert and do this, right? And now you can import things. Okay. Life is back on track. I feel good. Now first let's treat now the test is there, but the test doesn't compile. So what I'll do is go to hand, create an enum in the source, not in the test directory. Now if I click to the first line, it knows it is rock, paper, scissors. But if you go back to the test, I expect that to be like in all capital, right? So that's where you need to be clear on what you want to accept and not just say, yes, I'm going to accept everything you say. So that looks good. Now let's go and compile player. I'm going to create a player. I'm pressing caps lock. Go to the source. Now the player takes in a hand, which is good. But now you need actually to have a field for this always, right? So I'm going to bind constructors to fields. And then player should compile now. That is good. Now let's go to round. Create a round class back in the source. Looks good. And I will bind this to the constructor fields. Now round is compiling. So far so good. Let's go to play. Make it play, and now it should not return an object, right? Because we expected a player. So let's return a player. And some syntax error is there. So if you see again, I press RET return. It wants to implement the whole thing. But test-driven development tells you to take only baby steps first. Even with AI, we say make commits which are small, which pass, and once you build a smaller structure, it's easier to build a bigger palace later. So I'll say, I don't want this. The most trivial implementation is to make it green is this. And now, if I run the test, hopefully, because I don't have a configuration, it's not working. So what I'll do is I'll go.
You're meeting test.
Sorry?
You're meeting test.
Oof, thank you. And cool. 1 marks for your extra, okay? Thank you. All right. So now what we'll do is we'll edit the configuration and then make it as a Gradle unit test and run test all the time. I don't want to debug anything. If I debug today, it's a big failure, okay? We don't want to debug, right? We just want to keep running tests and get feedback. That's good. Thank you so much. That helped me. Now, but this is not going to work. And how do you do it? Because you're in the green phase. Let's either refactor or go to the next stage. What we do is to say, write one more test. And now the test should be player 2. Again, it's very eager. It's like, okay, can you stop talking so much, right? That's how you feel. And now player 2 with rock should win. But now it got the hint, okay, if player 2 should win, player 2 should play rock and player 1 should play scissors, and that's how it's going to win. And now if you run both the tests, hopefully you can see both are running and one is failing. But the typical smell in a test-driven development is it's showing you the page like the player's memory reference, right? You don't want that. You want it to be easier to read and not debug. So you'll make a simple adjustment to the player, not to fix the test. You'll override the string because that's the good feature about objects. You don't want this again. You want something where you can understand which player is failing. So now if you go to player 2, you see it says expected is the player with rock, but the other player 1, because we have hard-coded that in round. So now is the right time to refactor this. Again, not to what AI is saying. It may sound easier and better because we are in the object world. Let's say I'll do this. I'll say if player 1 dot get hand defeats player 2 dot get hand, because the logic should go into hand. If that happens, then I'm happy to return player 1 as the winner. Else, I'll return player 2 as the winner. But now you see it's not compiling because this doesn't exist. Please don't do anything more. Yeah, thank you. We'll create the get hand method here. It should not return object. It should return hand. So again, you control the contracts. AI is trying to help you, but you decide. Now you go in, return hand is fine. I'm formatting the code, coming back. There is an extra something here, or it needs one more, right? Yeah. Okay. And now it needs a defeats method in hand. So it's Boolean return, fine. It takes hand. I want to name it as other hand, right? That sounds better. This looks okay. This is the right place to do it. So now you have somehow steered a very overeager, very fast engineer / horse or thing to do what you want to do, right? Now if you run, the tests are actually passing. Now similarly, you can go back and say, I think one more test let's add, and let's go faster after this. We'll say test void the round is drawn if both players choose the same hand. It's able to understand your domain well now. It somehow has become repo aware. It's able to read the open tabs and all of that. But still, I will accept this with the caveat that it's the wrong test. It's saying player 2 is the winner. Looks impressive in the beginning. If someone added this comments and the houseflies die in 3 weeks. So don't use comments. I don't want them. And this should be null or maybe a singleton pattern like player.none. And let's implement that. Go back here. I don't know why it became short suddenly. This should be of player type, and it can be very trivial for now, which is still okay, but we got the object modeling right. It can be something like this. Now let's run the tests. It should fail expectedly, and our toString should work because expected is the player.none, but the player with paper is winning. So we will go back to round and fix that. And how do we do that? We will continue object modeling well. We'll say if player1 dot get hand is equal to player2 dot get hand, return player.none, and make it else if, so it's like a ladder. Make sense so far? Good recovery, right? Oof. And now there is a good thing about testing because the objective is to get code coverage. So that's where you get the confidence. you will not say like Chand said this code is good or I feel the code is good. You'll be able to say, looks like the code is doing what I'm asking it to do. Yeah, and based on the number of classes it covers, methods it covers, line and branches and so on. So, and now once you get to this stage, right, it becomes what we call as a few shot prompting. So if you go to round test and go to the correct position and start putting this, it's able to give you a lot more tests easily. That's where your acceleration starts. And that's why initially you had to go slow to like then go fast. And now you start getting a lot more coverage. And we can keep doing this, but at this point, I think we are good. I'm happy. Let's commit the changes. I don't like the idea files usually. That's why I did what I did earlier and it didn't work. I'll call it as paradigm 2. I'll say 1 round of rock, paper, scissors, right? I'll do a local commit for now. So we have that, and that is good. So in paradigm 1, we talked. In paradigm 2, we typed. And as you can guess, in paradigm 3, which is the prompt powered programming, we are going to type once and get the entire file back out. Okay. So now we used to type once and get a few lines out. Now we can type one line and get an entire module out. So for that, we'll go to a new tool just to show you that tools can swap. Let's go to VS Code, where I have opened the earlier folder. I'll not fall for it now. I'll go back to V5. IntelliJ IDEA, JetBrains. And I used Copilot. Now I'm going to VS Code, opening the same folder. And this is slightly better. I still care about my commits, you'll see. It's weird in this day and age, but I'll unstage these changes. I'll add them to git ignore and do it again because it didn't like that. I don't know, maybe I'm selecting one for at a time. I'll call this as P 2.2, maybe improve git ignore. This is exactly what I did in the morning and it didn't agree. So let's commit this. We didn't do anything yet. I've come to VS Code to show you a new tool called as RuCode. How many of you have heard about it earlier? Some equal experts folks, because of me, I think, I suspect. Anybody else outside equal experts? Anybody? Okay, yeah. And about Klein, have you heard about Klein tool?
Client is doing.
No, actually, Klein was forked as Ru. Now Ru is dead and Ru has become Zoo code. Yeah. The Ru is basically a smaller form of kangaroo. So now they're going to bring in all the animals together. So RuCode as a company has pivoted to RuMote. They're going to the agentic workflow side. All right, so it's one more tool. Think about it as like GitHub Copilot also. I go to RuCode. I go to settings. I'll quickly show you. I have a auth key. We need to buy it. And what we do is generally buy it on open router. Think of it as a Google Pay balance or a Phone Pay balance. And you can talk to any model that you want. I'm still talking to Claude Sonnet 4.6. It's quite a capable model. It doesn't overthink and it doesn't cost too much, right? So and you can look at the cost and all that here. You can control, basically it has now read my entire folder and it understands that as the context. And it has specific system prompts called as modes. I'm going to use the code mode. You can actually go into the mode and then customize that as well. You can look at the role definition. And what I usually do is I put in this agentic instructions, what you call as custom instructions, saying that in RuCode, a task is only complete if all the tests are passing. Otherwise, whatever is generated is an artifact. Until like IntelliJ and Copilot, like in paradigm 2, I was controlling the flow. Now as a human, I'm taking a step back and agent is going to code for me. And it could generally code files together. So all of them come together only if the tests are passing. And also I don't want to lose anything. Usually I like at least making a local commit. Once everything is good is when we do a push remotely. Yeah. So this is the setup. And there are some auto-approved commands over here. I'm happy to give it read and subtask access usually. But for the purpose of the demo, it's a bit dangerous. But for the demo, I'm also giving write and execute as well. But I also have an auto-approve limit of 50 auto-approved commands and $2 off the cost. So that is there. So let's start now. So what I want to do is, we said we'll do paradigm 3 and something around prompt-powered programming, right? So the prompt can be, now we have one round of the rock, paper, scissors. It's going well. We have the code and all checked in. We want to extend the code to n rounds and then determine the winner. And I'll not type things live. It's very difficult. So I have just used IDE called Cursor. Again, Cursor can be like VS Code or like IntelliJ, and you can put in your plugins. You don't need to put a plugin. It's AI IDE itself, right? So I will take this prompt. This was the prompt which you would have seen me type. and I've kept it as human as possible. I could have actually said, 1 minute, let me type this. I'll say prompt powered and put in the prompt. If you are able to see it well, or I'll zoom it a bit more. Yeah. So here the prompt says, I could have said create match.java. In match.java, create a method, right? You don't want that. You are thinking like a human. Now the abstraction is becoming a little high. There is some non-determinism here, but even non-determinism applies to humans as well. I couldn't think straight today, like in the first 30 minutes, right? So now I'm saying go through the current code base first and ask me if you have questions. Usually when we talk to LLM, it's not like Google, like it's not a one-shot thing. It's like a conversation. So we need to have that conversation going. It's also called a meta prompting. Like if I had done this, right, maybe just do, it'll say build a match of n rounds now. If you just had this prompt, right, this is what you're telling the LLM. And now there is a hint here to say, if let me understand what the LLM actually thought of it. Because LLMs are not von Neumann machines. It's not like A plus B is what? LLMs actually are based on trained data. That data has a knowledge cutoff, it has bias. It will give you the sort of the arithmetic mean of the good/bad answers out there. So unless you say what is it that you want and how to shape that to what is your requirement, like it won't know, right? So it is assuming a lot of things, maybe good for you, but not for me. I definitely don't need configurable number of rounds. I don't need round tracking yet. I don't need a scoreboard that updates in real time. Looks awesome though, tempting as well. There is an insurmountable lead. It's a nice word, but I don't want to say that. Match reset function. Man, this is very too much. I don't want this. I want what I want, right? So I'm saying, first of all, ask me questions. Secondly, do not do this. I've seen LLMs gravitate towards adding Java doc or documentations, comments. Like I said, parameterized unit tests are difficult for me to read. I don't want any thread safety or performance or even other language support as of now. I've said exception handling, don't do it as of now. You don't put in try catch because you will throw it back and all that. But what I want is unit tests to cover the standard cases. And I wanted to follow XP practices like clean code. Yagni means you ain't gonna need it. I prefer simplicity over extensibility. KISS as in keep it simple, stupid. So keep things simple, and good naming because I as a human need to read it. I'm saying I want a match class that has the best of n rounds. I'm not specifying every single thing, but I'm saying the main contract. So in a way, I'm treating this as a contract first development. That is, in a way, you can think of it as test driven development, right? These contracts are the tests. The contracts say match is created with rounds and 2 players as expected. 1 round is played at a time. The winner is determined when either player crosses the win threshold, like 2 out of 3 and so on, or all rounds are completed with a draw because they need to play all the rounds. But if as soon as any player wins, or if you try to play the game after it's ended, like after all the rounds are done, I need a specific exception to be thrown. That's a design choice I have made, right? So let's fire this and pray. No, we will see how it goes. But now you can compare this to the paradigm 2 where I was in control. I was saying what to do. Now I have given up some control for speed. And now we need to figure out, do we trust it or not? And that trust comes from tests. So I will maybe decrease the font a bit so you can read it. And you will now see a healthy tension between the bunch of source code probably coming up. I'm waiting for it to come. Maybe it's thinking. Let's see, go back here. Fine, it's asking me a question. That's actually good. Saying for a best of n match, what is the win threshold? Is it for best of 3 is first to 2 wins? Because as humans, sometimes when there is a draw, you again replay that round. But I'm saying, yeah, standard things. I'll say this. And what I've learned from Prashant is to not to be too nice to LLMs. You can disagree with them. And as this is happening, the temptation is to agree because it's in English, maybe too much to read, and you say, yeah, let it go. But anytime you want, you can actually ask it to stop. It says the existing round takes players' objects with fixed hands at construction. For a match, each round needs potentially different hands. Awesome. This changes every time I talk to it. Sometimes it assumes that the player has a fixed hand and plays it all the time. Sometimes it like over-engineers it. But now it's saying that if Chans and Prashant are playing a game and I played rock in the first round and then he played paper, the second round, I'm not going to play rock again. That's how the object model is today, right? If you go, it's almost like, I don't know if IntelliJ threw that error. I am betting that it would have to say that. Man, this chat tension is also there. 1 minute, let's collapse this. Yeah, it's probably saying that, hey, you can convert this to a record class. It can be value object because I don't see anything on state. But I just left it there because the state is coming now. And without explaining too much, I'll just say I don't agree with both the options. I'll say use player dot change hand and give the new hand here to be simple for now. Now the agentic behavior is coming in. It had planned two options, but now I added something more to the context window, what you will hear me talking more, and the context window might be getting a little fuller here. You're seeing that there is a, like it's 1% full, there is a API cost also coming in, and there is a limit to the context window. These days you will see it is 1 million, but doesn't mean that you can put in infinite things there. And that's where context rot, context poisoning, those things come into picture. Our recommendation is to keep the context clean, keep it for a focus task, and then move on to the next one. Yeah. So now it's thinking. These thinking is where I need to plan to continue talking. So because your mileage may vary, right? It's based on the load, it's based on the question, it's based on how big the scope is, and so on. But what I expect now to happen is to say, I prefer IntelliJ because somehow the UX here is better, so I'll keep going back here, but it's the same code. I expect a match test to be created. I expect a match class to be created. I expect match to have n rounds, a count of rounds, and so on. And that's going to happen. And now, but the thing we need to appreciate is now we are no longer coding in lines. We are giving control to the agent. We are giving very strict instructions, and the agent is able to run with things for us. At the end, you will see now the game has ended, exception is created first. Some of you might notice that the AI, the Roo code did not do test-driven development. It created the class first. But because of the rule that tests have to pass, it will converge, but still it is thinking, it is not thinking, in a way it's thinking contract first, but it's not authoring such that the green-red like the red-green refactor happens, okay? So for that, you can create a custom mode to say, do TDD all the time, and do it that way. But as of now, it's fine for the demo. Let it continue running. And let's see how many classes have changed so far, right? There should be a bunch of classes. Yeah. Yes. So it is about 24K out of 1 million tokens has been used so far. Some are reserved for the system prompt. Yeah. So it will always have. I'll talk about that later. It's called context compaction. Yeah. Okay, it's saying things are done. It took the liberty of committing it as well. Okay. All right. Thank you, but no thank you. I thought the commit message should have been better, but that's on me. I didn't tell it exactly follow P 3.1, right? It said, okay, add match class is done, best of n logic, game has ended. Are we good? Probably not. The first thing we do is to run all the tests. Does it mean we are good? Maybe, right? But now I just want to look at the test it wrote. Let's go to the match test. Collapse this. It says player 1 wins match when reaching win threshold. So there is a best of 3 between player 1. They're playing the same hand. It nicely said match.play. I think it looked at round.play. So it said, okay, let me extend that itself. It got the winner. And did I say get winner or winner? It says done it as winner. Good, fine. But I don't like this fully because for me, they should have been best of 3 round because this test doesn't convey the intent, right? So, but we are out of time as well. So what we'll do is we will leave it here. But actually what I would have done if we had time and later what we can do is I would have come to a new task. And now that is how you clear the context window and don't let it compact later because compaction is a very complex, sort of a very costly operation and you don't know what state you go into because it's up to the LLM to summarize and cut out the noise. So you will come here and say refactor in the match test, can you change the naming convention? Can you make it as best of 3 match is won by player 1 with 2 wins? That's better. Yeah. And then you continue that, but it's fine. I think as of now, it makes sense. At least I'm able to read it. So there is no winner. It's done a draw scenario as well. It ends early once because the winner threshold is reached. There is a best of 5 and then player 1 wins 3. Did it not do it here as well? Anyway, it's fine. More tests don't harm you. But again, write only high value and passing tests. Just because tests are there, you can't keep writing tests and you need to look at the test pyramid and ensure that you have the adequate amount of tests based on test coverage. There is a good technique called mutation testing. Mutate your code to see if your tests are valuable, and if your tests don't fail, you don't need the test. Yeah. So this looks like a, I think, overhead for me, but I'll leave it for now. It is testing the exception case, which is good. And you may have seen a conflict now. I'll call it early, so it's better. I'll say if I go to my cursor prompt command, I said do not do exception handling. And I told in my prompt do exception handling. It did. So it's a conflict you're seeing here, but it's fine. Maybe it like overrid what was supposed to be done for today. I'm still curious, where is the change hand? Do any of you see it, or am I? Or is, okay, see, it has let us down, right? I thought we agreed on the change hand. Change hand is here, but why is there is no test on the change hand? I would have said there should have been one game, best of 3, with one player win each, right? So let's do that. Maybe I think it's time to do it. We'll say create a new test in match where it's best of 3 and each player has 1x win each and 1 round is draw. But I'm not telling it where the match class is. I'm not telling it go to match test. I'm not telling it, okay, change this. But now, because of the agentic flow, it is able to understand the current folder that's become its source of truth that is being sent to the context, and it's able to understand what task to create to get that happen. So if you look at the thinking, right, and that's the tension you're seeing now between what you talk in the prompt window to what you have in the source code. And now it is actually thinking with you and said player.change hand can be used. It's able to infer that well. I don't see a bunch of to-do items. Sometimes you do see that. It's going to plan and do it for you, right? And it's making some changes. It's running the test. It's made a commit. So it's on me to say you make a commit, and let's see what commit it made this time. It's saying add test best of 3 with exactly this. And now if I run all the tests, and is there a new test? Maybe the best way is to go and just check for change hand. Okay, fair. This is what I wanted, but I didn't want the comments, but I'll leave it for now. Yeah, so this is where we are. So we typed in the paradigm 1, we talked there, then we typed in the paradigm 2. In paradigm 3, we only gave one prompt and we got an entire feature back. Yeah. Now the interesting work happens, right? Let's go to the next paradigm. Now you will see all the paradigms are only on the left side. Not like I don't like a balanced view, but as of now, AI is helping you type faster, go faster, but the end user is not seeing the AI. It's only in SDLC as the software development lifecycle. And now let's go to the like a newer tool called Claude Code. And Claude Code comes in 2 flavors. You can have the desktop app like I have here, or you can go on to the command line. I know people have their own preferences, but I'm a light mode kind of a guy. So I'm going to use Claude Code desktop today. And for any shell commands, I'm going to go to item 2. Yeah. So here, now what do? We have a game, we have a best of n, we have an exception being handled, our tests are the true consumers, so life is good so far. But now I'm going to paradigm, if you can wait, no, you will get 2 more here for free, wait. 6 will come, thank you. 4.1 is, I'm thinking we'll call it as Agentic SDLC. So now, I want to make trust as structural. So I'm tired of checking a lot of things all the time. I think there are so many things happening. So I want to build in these quality gates. I mean, in future could be for code coverage if it's a production scale app. But today I want to have 2 gates. One is deterministic. It doesn't depend upon LLM. So anytime I commit, all the tests should pass. The second is I want to sort of bring the LLM outside its window and bring it as a tool. I want the LLM to do a code review for me. I want a non-deterministic gate and the deterministic gate. Both have to pass, right? So let's do that. And I don't know shell scripting. Anai knows it very well, I know. But I don't know. So, but still, let's take a risk and start doing it. And it's made things possible. So I'll go to my next. Okay, see, this is good. I actually completely forgot one thing. So let's not do this. People who are Claude enthusiasts would have noticed this, that I should have actually first, let's go to V5. Thank you. And let's trust the new workspace. Let's bypass permissions, not recommended. It's for the demo. Let's do that. Let's init, right? So what init does, if you read documentation, it says initializes a new claude.md file with the code-based documentation. And as I trigger it, whatever we have given earlier as instructions to the prompt, right? Maybe don't do this, or whatever patterns we have. I'm expecting now the agentic sort of instruction to be auto-documenting. So from P4 onwards, your primary output as an engineer doesn't remain code, test, pipelines, documentation. It also includes agentic workflows as well. So in a way, you need to continuously care about the agentic workflows, commit to these markdown files, maintain your skills, maintain your hooks, and stop, in a way, working with the code as much, because you're improving the harnesses, you're improving the way you are setting the code quality gates so that these agents are going to maintain your code. So your level of abstraction has changed. So now it's doing a code-based exploration. Think of it as a new developer has been onboarded. They know some best practices and they're trying to figure out what you have done. And it's going through the entire project structure, the source files, the packages, tests, the formatting setup, high-level architecture. So if I had described my code better, it would have known a better. If I had persisted like my prompts better, it would have known what I've done. But as of now, with just the 3 or 4 commits I have, it's able to make some sense of it, right? So okay, I'll collapse this. It's saying that Claude MD is like created, but now Claude doesn't have an instruction to commit on its own, right? So it shouldn't have committed as such. So I'll just go back to IntelliJ. I'm just doing this because it like shows things better. And nowadays IDEs are becoming a collection of tools. People like visual medium, they come to IDEs, but if you are comfortable, like in Claude Code, you can live in the CLI world as well. So as of now, you can see it's a good start. I think it's mostly focused on the commands, how to run. It's focused on the architecture. Great, but I'm not happy. So what I actually need is, I will get this coding conventions, which I prepared to say, can you please add this as well? I have some coding conventions in terms of Java framework, then my oops preference, whether I want to write integration tests or not, and using my singleton pattern thing, and Yagni. And definitely, like, I don't want any secrets to be committed because I have paid for my key and I don't want it to be leaked. And commit messages, now I'm telling it like, yeah, use this convention, right? Paradigm and x.y. And also to make things a little bit more complex and see if it can handle it, I'll go back to my earlier instructions, which could have been a prompt library, like a prompt template. I'll go and add that as well here. And just keep it in markdown syntax so that it knows. I think it's auto saved. I'll go back to Claude Code and said, I have updated the Claude.md. Do you agree with the changes? Else ask questions. So now we are sort of building like a memory bank. We are building the instructions for what our agent has to do. And let's see what's happening. I think did it change something? Okay, no, it's in the main branch. I thought it added a main app. So this is awesome. This is usually what it happens, right? Like whatever Roo code missed. And if you see, Roo code was talking to a Sonnet 4.6, right? If I go back to Roo code, if you remember in the settings, you will see the key was on Sonnet 4.6. Now Claude is on the same thing, Sonnet 4.6. Effort is just high. That's the thinking length. But it's saying that, hey, you are saying no exception handling in one case, right? But I see some exceptions are also there. It's awesome. It's good. And I'll say, remove what you don't agree with. So now, if I go back to this, it's like removing that, right? Now let's go to the agentic workflow quickly. We'll go back to this prompt. So what I want to express this way, and again, I've kept it intentionally light so that I don't tell every single thing to do, and I want to see what varies, and you can queue the changes. I'll say this now. Add a pre-commit hook with 2 gates. Gate 1 should run the tests, and gate 2 should pipe the stage diff to Claude for a quick code review. But I've not said what the code review is. And I also want to store the Git hooks with me. I don't want it to be like in a local folder, but also verify that each of the gate actually fails. And once you fail it, don't commit the test code, actually make the commit cleanly, right? And this will take some time. So I expect it to create a shell script, which will first run all the tests. Then it will do a quick code review. That is where the Claude command will be piped into your stage diff, and whatever the difference of the new file is there, maybe it's a new secret or it's a to-do statement, that has to get reviewed by Claude. So it's a way to actually, it's a hint on MCP. You would have heard of MCP, wherein you are making your agent meet your tools or your data, like private data or database or API. So this is one attempt to show you that, yeah? So now let's see what's happening. Is the Git hooks being created? I'll go back to IntelliJ. It should come in. And after this, right, what will happen is, if you go into any test and let's say I make this as, I don't know, null, that test will fail and then your application or any new commit should not be able to happen there. Or if you do this, if you say to do, it should fail. Or if you do something like final string open router key equal to some fake key, this should also fail. So none of these should actually happen. Yeah. So that's the whole intent of doing this SDLC agent. So now I think it's understood the instructions, it is doing a planning. So you are seeing the sort of agentic loop in action. So it is trying to understand, it's trying to plan, it's trying to execute, it's going to learn on its own as well. Yeah. So let's come back to, not this, let's come back to IntelliJ. Still waiting? Yeah, I know these waits can be awkward, but we have given it a task and it's happening. So meanwhile, like I showed you, right, what could have happened. After this happens, once we get this, the next actual thing I want to build, which we can call it as like agentic workflow, is this. Like we built a hook, the hook has 2 stages, that's working, but let's also build something else. So what I actually want to build is a persistence layer. Now we have a match going on, we are having the pre-commit hooks being checked, so we have some confidence on code quality. Now let's store the results into a CSV file, right? So then, that's the next step. We want to store every match into a CSV with a fixed format, timestamp, the player names, winners, and then the win counts. And we are giving some rules that you need to append only, so that the last row is always the newest. And ensure that you test it. So make the file path as injectable, so the tests can use it as a temp directory, right? But don't commit the CSV file because it's actual data. You just ignore that and write a header file, because in future, if you're using it for AI or for humans, it's going to be self-documenting. And I want to again leverage like what I did for player.toString. I'm doing a match.toString to serialize the object. And I'm saying for now, let the player names come from the toString. I don't want to make it complex by adding a constructor parameter. And I'm also saying only tests that the actual files are written. Don't redo all the tests. So that will be by like my next prompt once this finishes. So now you can actually see the thinking of the agent. It is actually going through all the source files. It is creating like a Git hooks directory. It created a pre-commit hook. Then it's running the hook to ensure it like fails actually. So it's like actually staging a deliberately this a broken test to ensure it fails. It's like running those commands to do it. And now it is actually passing all the tests, but it's violating some like conventions, and that's also breaking. And it's saying that, hey, you know what, I have done everything you asked for, take a look. So let's go back to IntelliJ. And if you, I am expecting a Git hooks folder. It's here, right? So if you see this, you can read this. There are 2 gates, but let's see actually what like if you look at the first gate, it's going to just run the Gradle test, which we know. The second gate is actually piping the staged diff to the Claude to say that review the staged diff for a Java rock paper scissors engine, conventions, no comments, no null returns, no Yagni violations, unit tests, etc., clean naming, and so on. So again, this was not something that I expected, but anyway, now let's commit the changes and see if it works, right? Because I've made some big claims now, so let's see if it works. So now what I'll do is I'll intentionally fail this test to say player 1 should win. Hopefully this didn't get committed. If it's committing, okay. So this should be the only change, and I'll call this as a bad commit. Okay, select the files to commit. Shouldn't work because it says like the gate 1 test failed, right? So that's okay. So now let's come back and let's say to do, I will do this tomorrow. Let's see if this works. All right, thank you. So I think it's got my funny gene. Okay, it's a harmless comment. I don't know why it should shout, but let's see if the thing works. I thought this details will show better, but now it's saying gate 2 failed, right? Because comment added to production test code. Not bad. I was hoping it will not allow secrets and all that, but sometimes it makes up its own mind. So, and if I told it exactly block secrets, it would, but it didn't, right? So it's fine. Let's test all the tests passing. Good. Now, the temptation is to actually use this same window. But again, for compaction not to happen, I'm going to one more session. I'll start with a fresh session. And if you see I hope this is where you see the context window in this. I think somewhere here it should come. As I start typing, I'll ensure that the folders are here and then the permission is here. And because my Claude MD is being updated, I know all the earlier conventions are going to be followed. And now I have the agentic hooks as well, not this command. Go back to cursor, get the thing I want to build, right? So now it's actually, now you're building something and the agentic workflow is going to help you, because this code cannot contain to-do comments, it cannot contain bad code, it should have all the tests passing, right? So now you're able to see the acceleration from paradigm 1 to what I call 4.1. And as that happens, right, this is the next paradigm called, I call it agentic workflows, which has a dual nature. On the right side, we have the first debutant finally. It is where AI becomes the core feature as well. Now user is able to see the feature, right? So now next we are going to build an agentic workflow now quickly, like in Claude. It's not a refund bot, so that's an example. Today what we'll build is we'll build a very simple, like a playing bot. I want to play with a bot, I need a console application, right? And as of now, the plan is to only make it play randomly. But in the future, we can use AI to look at the CSV file, look at how the human played, and then try to play accordingly, right? So that's the plan, that's what we will do. So let's go back. As I was talking, still thinking, it is reading, match, player, match test. So now you're able to understand, like in a way, you need to exactly tell it what you need, right? And you need to build a harness for you to go faster. And in a way, you're working with the AI to make decisions together. You're not saying, no, I'm going to trust you, bro, and you can do it on your own, right? It's checking the git ignore file. That's always a good sign because it's not going to commit the CSV file. I'm happy about that. Okay, now the plan stage is done. It is going to add a match.toString. I like that. It's going to create a match repository. I didn't say use a repository pattern, but it's still doing that. It is going to write the exact 3 tests that I asked. It's going to add the CSV to the git ignore. It looks very promising so far. And this time I'm not going to do a thorough code review, both for lack of time and also to say that you can build a harness or you can build these hooks and so on to ensure that you get what you want. But still, all right, it's saying it's done. So let's go back. How do we ensure things are done? We do it as usual, we run the tests. Hopefully a new test has come in, makes me happy. Let's check the code coverage quickly. I say I don't care, but I can't not care. So it's doing, I don't know why it only ran these two, but yeah, fine. I think it's, if I say run with code coverage, replace active suites and everything should come. But anyway, it's fine, right? So it's able to write the test for this repository as well. I think it's time to commit. So let's ask it to commit now. And did it already commit? No, right? Okay, let's say commit the changes. Usually you see a sort of this icon here to commit the changes. I don't know why it took a turn differently, but now it is committing the changes. And then why I'm showing you this is I want to show you the commit history to see if it followed the instructions that we had. Okay, let's go back and look at the commit history. So it didn't exactly follow what we did. It said add Claude MD with build commands, good, add CSV file, but I was expecting it will have the prefix of P like 4.1 and so on. That didn't happen. Fair, I think we need to enforce it. So though, in a way, I think it's like one lesson that to say that even in the Claude.md, say collapse this, commit messages should be this. It didn't follow that. Maybe I should say bold it or say always do this or make it like a git hook as well, right? So that's the lesson here. But also one like interesting thing, and I don't know the answer why, but this was just what I observed yesterday, was that until now, if you see in Roo code or in GitHub Copilot, the author was me, right? Whereas from Claude code, the author is actually become a co-author now. It's actually claiming it's also the author. So maybe it's good to have human in the loop because you cannot fire AI. If things break, it's on you, right? So ensure that it's authored by you as well, but along with the agent, think of it as a pair, but you still need to own the responsibility. Yeah. So that's good. Let's quickly move on to the bot now. So this is my prompt for the bot, and what I want to do was I will go to a new session, hide this. It looks good, permissions look good. I'm saying build a game, build a CLI. I'll first fire this and then talks to save time. I'm saying build like a command line app, right? CLI means command line interface. Build a command line app where I can play as a human, but I'll only type in the first letter of the actual hand, R, P, or S, which will signify rock, paper, and scissors. I'll play against a simple bot, which will pick randomly as of now. And this name is because I cannot put a to-do as per the Git hook, right? So, but we are going to make it intelligent later. So that is the agentic workflow node. And after each round, I want to say what hands did the players play, or the player and the bot played, and then who won. But now, if the match is ending, I don't want to depend upon the older contract of the, I don't want to wait for exception to come. I want a more graceful way. So I'm hoping that it is going to add a Boolean check somewhere to see that, hey, if player one has won 2 out of 3 rounds, I can actually declare the winner now, rather than going to play the third round, get an exception, and then show that. It need not change the call flow. At the end, I do want a summary of who won, who lost as well, but I want this result to be saved to the CSV because obviously that's what is happening. And all the integration should happen at the app layer, but no tests for it because I don't want to write integration tests. And I want to run this to test it, right? So I'll just copy this so I can run it on the command line. So it's saying it's all good. And usually what I learned again is to, if you have this exclamatory mark, is you can run bash commands here, but I don't like it as seamless as such now yet. So that's why whatever output I want to run, I'll probably do it here. And quickly, prior to me failing and burning again, I'll change this to V5. Yeah, I'll keep this ready. So let's see. And these are big changes now, right? You are getting an app, you are getting a bot. The bot is able to pick hands randomly. The human and the bot are able to play together. And we don't have tests as of now, but typically you will have some kind of tests, right? You will have an end-to-end test or 1 or 2 tests, and you start getting your test pyramid. But as of now, it's trying to understand the code. It's trying to implement everything. And as this does, right, I'll just make a quick announcement. We are at 11:55. Is it okay if we end the session at 12:20?
Yeah.
Anybody who will hate me for that? No? Okay, fine. Thank you. Sorry, that didn't go well in the beginning, so lost some time. All right, so the next one, a picture time now. You can take the picture. So yeah, the 6th paradigm. Yeah, 6th paradigm is AI-infused products. It's like you now have AI. Earlier, agent was doing everything, right? Like it's a refund bot or it's a player bot. But now there is some features which are infused. Like you can talk to AI and ask for the feature, AI is going to help you. So here what we'll do today is, as the game is being played, and once I play with the bot, I lose a round or I lose a match. At the end, I want a IPL cricket style commentary. IPL is the Indian domestic, I think not domestic, domestic league, right? So we want a IPL style commentary on what the current result was, like talk like a batsman or bowler. I think that's one round. The second line should be, look at the history, look at the last 25 wins or losses and talk about the trend. Yeah. So I think that's what we are going to do next. I hyped up all this, but now let's hope that this continues doing this. Is it all done? Okay. It's making me wait now. I don't know what's happening. Let me go here. Is anything changed? No. So let me explore. You're done? Okay. I don't know if there was an internet blip or what happened, but suddenly this had stopped working. And it's not telling me why. I was hoping it will be more better to accept. Sorry, something happened. I don't think it heard me, but it's put the exact contract if a match is over. And also it's taken a decision that let's not remove the exception, because the exception could be like a guard block, like for the future. It's saying that, okay, I'm going to use match.isOver and play will return the round winner when it's done. And then it will keep checking basically. If isOver is true, it will get the winner. If it's not, it's going to play the next round, right? It's actually calling it simple bot. It extends the player. That's nice, right? It's actually extending the player because it like gets the same contract. It's able to pick randomly though. And it's creating an app.java, looks good. It has application plugin and main class as well for like Gradle. Let's all write it now. Hopefully it will not hang up on me. It's going to write things fast. So now I think first it read if it has to change anything on the match repository test. It's looked at it. I don't know if it made any changes. Then it's now deciding to, it's saying I'm going to implement all 4 changes in parallel. Maybe in the Q&A we can figure out if it was creating 4 subagents for this and how it's able to manage this. It's good. It's doing a smoke test with a scripted run. That's what we like, right? So it's able to do some of our job. So it's actually saying that, yeah, let's run it and see what happens. So you're seeing a lot of load is shifting to the agent. And just want to tell you folks that, yeah, I mean, our primary job as consultants or as developers was not typing. It was about understanding a problem. It was about figuring out how it's going to help humanity or your customer or like yourself, and write something wherein things can be maintained for the better, and it actually solves the problem, right? I think so that's what it is. So now you are getting a lot of typing for free. Leverage that and then think about how your job is changing. Yeah. So things have happened, and as I'm looking at it is why I'm thinking, but maybe I've heard Prashant, he created an agent last night and it completed his work to migrate Laravel 5 to 8. So people are very, very advanced now. I'm just waiting for this, but people are able to spin up I think agents and then give it long kind of work and it's able to do a lot of work for you, right? It's saying it's all fine. So let's do something unheard of. Let's commit the change. Because if any tests are failing, it's going to not commit. And if there is any code issue, it should also not commit. But doesn't mean it is correct. Okay. I know the product owners here will be thinking, how can you be sure it's correct? Let's test it. Let's do that. Yeah. As it commits, I'll run this. And intentionally, I'm going to give a different character. Wow, error handling is handled. Awesome. And I'll give it a small case character. Okay. First one looks good. Now I'll go to results.csv because I trust, but I want to verify, right? I want to shift the trust to the structure, but the structure is not so big yet. A little, I don't know, sometimes you should not ask for what you don't know. I didn't know that the player name will come like this, but expectedly it's in toString, it is here. Let's not change it now, it's fine. At least I know it's being recorded correctly, right? Like player, paper, I thought, but this will be bot as well. I don't understand which is a bot and which is a player. That's the first defect. Okay, let's go back. Now I'm not a genius at this. I don't know what's happening also. Okay, one was a draw, one was this. Okay, now bot is 1. So how do we know that? Okay, did bot win here as well? Okay, now I need to win once, right? Come on, player has to win once. Let's change it to paper. Okay, last attempt, scissors. This is not, don't know what's happening. Come on, luck for me. Any suggestions? This is unheard of, right? Yeah, I know. Come on, man. Okay, so let's go back to Claude and say what's happening, right? It's still committing the changes. I'll say issues I observed. And I think you have a debug mode as well here. Let's not need it now. We need to change the contract for player.toStrings. So we see bot or human, else it's not possible to understand who won in the CSV, right? And second is, I am feeling that only the bot is winning because I don't know the code yet. Can you confirm the user can also win? So as it does that, obviously somebody said, look at the code. Yeah, let's do that. No worries. Let's continue. What was the thing? It was a match repository. So match repository has a header. That's good. It's taking the injectable path. That's good. It's saving the match. Feels good because it's writing a header. If the file is not there, it's creating the file. Then this, it has a find all function. Okay. Now let's go to the match, right? What happened? Because is over has come in. Maybe that is causing the problem. If is over is true, it throws an exception. Fine. Then otherwise it will keep playing. And whenever it plays, you will increment it. And what is over? This also, looks okay. So now let's go back. Did it commit first? Okay, I think it's committing first. Or maybe I don't know if it sent the entire diff to the agent and it was doing a code review. That's why it's taking time. But yeah, that was definitely longer than I thought it would be. And this new thing is queued now. You can also do that. I think as you type things, you can queue it, right? So that's what has happened. Let's wait for it. Yeah. Or maybe let's do this as this is going on now. I'll change the script now. Let's go back to V4 and maybe we will run that because I don't want to wait too long. So let's go to V4. I did this morning. So here, oh, the V4 is a horrible project, right? V3. So in V3, what had happened was, let's go spin up that. I'll go to one more shell here. I need to change it to rock, paper, scissors, V3. Okay, time to win, huh? Okay. Oh, okay, fine. I won it. Now it's making a call to get the summary as well because the paradigm 5 also has been coded here. And I know you asked me, Chans, why Hindi coming over here? I didn't ask for it, to be honest, but it looks cool. But we will go and challenge what has happened, right? Let's go and look at the code, what happened this morning. There is a commentator which has come in. That's the file that you want to know. And in case you're curious, right, match looks similar. So at some point is over. Only the last condition was not greater than or equal to. It was otherwise correct. The rest was quite similar. So I don't know what exactly happened. Let it fix that. But now what's actually interesting is it has modeled things correctly. It has actually gotten a commentator. So think of app as like paradigm 5 and paradigm 6 is where the commentator comes in. And here it is talking to Open Router because I asked it in this prompt, right? I don't know if I showed you the prompt. The prompt will be this. I'm saying put AI inside the product. The AI plays a punchy sports commentator, exactly 2 lines, one on the current match and one on the trend from history. Yeah, and then I said emojis are welcome. I only said use IPL English phrases, a Hindi like I didn't ask. And that indicates the training bias. Could be that in India, Hotstar, IPL, Hindi viewers are a lot more. Maybe if I ask it as EPL or Australia Big Bash, it may not, and this is, I'm not talking to you in Hindi, right? And I've said also use Open Router API because I had that in AS Code. I have put in a key which is on my environment, right? I don't want to commit it, so it's going to read that. And if the API calls for any reason, and I've said use Claude Sonnet 4.6 only. If the API fail calls because of timeout, missing key, and exception, I've said print a friendly error message, right? And also I'm saying app.java should do the integration and then take the last 25 rows only because I don't want to put the volume load and I don't want to unit test it, right? And I asked it to ask questions if like unclear and it went well. So the code looked like, yeah, I will talk to the open router.ai key. This is the model. The fallback is again short marare, what a nail biting finish. So if anything goes wrong, it's going to say this, okay? And now in the comment, you can see that it is constructing the prompt. Now the prompt has become part of the application, right? And it's also saying there is a timeout of 10 seconds for this client. There is a request timeout of 20 seconds. There is a status to like check errors and so on. And it's actually building the request body. And one is a system prompt. Again, you are seeing now the difference between a system prompt and a user prompt. System prompt defines the tools you use, the the context and the intent. It's saying you're a punchy IPL cricket commentator doing live commentary for a rock paper scissors match. Respond in exactly 2 lines, one about the current match and one from history. It's saying use IPL English phrases again. Oh, it says like short marare. I didn't check this. All right. What a cracker all this. And then it has taken a decision on it is actually reading the entire content of the CSV file, but only sending the last 25 here. Maybe I would have taken a different route to say only read 25 lines. It's sort of getting all 25 into memory and sending only 25 to the prompt, which is fair, but still, right? So it has done its job. And now let's go back and see if maybe the best of 3, right? Let's see what does it say. I'll keep playing rock. I'm not good at this. Bot wins the round. So now will it say something complimentary for the bot? It's making a call. Simple bot cleans up the human's wicket, short marare. That's a clean ball. Human gone for a duck. Humans on a rough patch lately, yes, I agree. With back-to-back simple bot wins, closing out the session. So while it's fun, it brings a important, man, never I won. Okay. It like brings up an important point that how do you test for this? I wrote JUnit test very elegantly that time. I was showing off with my TDD skills. But now the paradigm moves to evals, because you should have some kind of harness here to say that this is semantic sort of equivalence, and I'm fairly sure that the human name should be mentioned in the first comment if they win, and so on, and the sentiment should be this. So that's where you definitely need to ensure that if AI becomes your feature, you need evals and so on to ensure that you are able to test it well. Okay. So one last game. Yeah, please ask.
Can you please just show that part where you said the prompt becomes part of the system?
Yes.
You mentioned prompt becomes part of the system.
Yeah.
Can you please show that part? Yeah.
So you're asking, I need to show the where
Yeah.
the part where the prompt becomes part of the system, right?
Yeah.
So if you see the call flow, I forgot the usages, right? Yeah. So build request body will be called in comment, right? And comment is being called by commentator. Commentator will be called by app. So let's go to the app flow so we see it. So in the app, if I see where the comment method is used, after the entire match, right? Once the match is played out is when at the end this call flow will be called to say commentator object creation, then comment. It will take in the current match and then the history. With that, it is first going to build HTTP client and then build the request out. In the request, it needs to build the body, right? And that body will be build request body. Do you see it somewhere? Yeah, here, right? So it is building the request body to say that I need the system prompt and I am going to pass you the last 25 results as part of the user prompt here. And then it is going to append that to the history. And this is going to the AI. This is going to the LLM. Until now, I was calling the LLM via my prompts or via questions. Now it is happening programmatically. And for this, you are using the open router key and so on from here. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for asking. So where was I? And then I think I won at the end finally. Then human takes it 1-0. So it's fun, but yeah, definitely this works. And also I'll just quickly show you one last thing about the app. Is there a simple bot? Yeah. The simple bot as of now plays a random hands, but we are signifying the intent with the name as such. We don't want to put a to do, but like eventually this would become AI as well. So it will study the pattern of how the human is playing and then try to play accordingly. So that's why the right two features have now become more of the user seeing AI. The left is where you tend to go faster. Yeah. So that's the games which is done finally. Now quickly a few slides, okay, for about like 10 minutes. Now why I spoke about paradigms is, like I said, paradigms are like mental models. We used to have structured programming, procedural programming, object-oriented programming, functional, reactive, and every model requires a mental shift. It's not enough to say I'm doing reactive programming. And paradigms will eventually are based on principles. Principles are value statements that you say I want this value and I'm not going to compromise it. Things like Yagni, what I did, and earlier could be like solid principles and so on. But principles are still theoretical. And that's what eventually becomes patterns. Patterns are common solutions to common problems. Like let's say observer pattern, or it could be hexagonal architecture, it could be RESTful design. So those are patterns, but eventually patterns have to become practices. And practices are what you kind of see here. Like principles are these, but like eventually if you need to ensure that these principles become practices, you need to apply this to you need to agree, negotiate, and apply to your context. You need to say, I am going to write system prompts this way. I'm going to use custom instructions this way, and I'm going to ensure that custom instructions are updated into the tool on its own, or I'll have some kind of a hook. It like does that, right? So like eventually, paradigms goes to principles, goes to practices. Yeah. So here I'm trying to cover, give a new flavor to AI engineering principles. I'm not going to go through every one of them. The first typical compartment is called like prompt engineering. Some people love it. Some people are saying it's like it's not required as of now because the models are becoming very less intelligent. That's okay. But still with prompt engineering, unless you know the difference between it's a user prompts and system prompts, you know how to give custom instruction to shape the things to your requirement. You have a conversation like with LLMs. You understand that LLMs are copier machines. And also you follow this mindset of prompt review refactor, which you saw in action. Eventually, you're not telling the LLM what to do exactly. Okay, so you need to definitely take care of this. But what is more important is context engineering. It's not enough to tell the LLM. It's also very important to ensure LLM sees what it needs. So understand the length of the context window, and infinite context window doesn't mean it's not expensive or not slow, and doesn't mean that you put too many things in it. I think in my earlier job, I was using one context window for 6 months. It didn't go well, obvious reasons, right? At some point, it's going to compact, it's going to take a decision on what is noise and what is summary. At some point, it's going to forget what you are supposed to do. So that's why you saw today I was keeping focus prompts, ensuring that the context is refreshed, but still the memory bank and so on is there as part of your agentic instructions, or could be your prompt templates and so on. So always, like I said, right, the world is shifting towards a place wherein your primary output is not only the code, test, data, and so on. It is also the agentic workflows that you build. And code indexing is, if you ask Chance, does this principle apply to my code, which has 1 million lines of code? Yes. But to grep that code will take time. That's why you need code indexing. I don't know if you saw a hint of that in VS Code at the end of Root code, right? It allows you to sort of index your code. Once I collapse the settings, at this, you can, like if you index your code, it will be able to do a good semantic search and quite fast as well. So you can like figure out how to navigate your complex code base. And memory bank is what we saw, like Claude doing it in action very, very well. I'm sure if I had continued using Root code, I would have been much, much slower than now. Claude was able to take me to the next level today because it understands what instructions to capture. It did bad sometimes, but that's okay, but at least you're getting there. But lastly, what is happening recently and what I've not learned fully is called harness engineering. As the name suggests, it's about creating this boundaries or quality gates wherein agents can operate on their own. You build in the sufficient evals, you put in the proper hooks, you're able to provide data with like MCP, you figure out how to augment your queries and use RAG, you define the mechanism for agents to talk to each other, you understand the models to be selected and tuned and so on. And also, always AI in demos looks impressive. If you're impressed, thank you. But if you're impressed, don't do this all the time, because doing AI like in production at scale is a completely different story. The first thing is to build like guardrails, because you need to assume it can fail, it can change every single second. And things like security and ethics as well, right? Because you should not commit your keys. You should be aware where your prompts are being processed, are they being stored, are they being trained, and who owns your outputs and so on, right? And ultimately, if the user sees AI, you should ensure that they understand that well in terms of their consent, in terms of you're able to give them confidence to use it and so on. So I'll leave you with this in terms of you can progress from left to right to first tell the LLM what to do better, then ensure it can see things better, and thirdly, create the rules for it to operate better. Yeah? And nothing is useful. Sorry, I'll come. I know I should finish fast. And you learned about paradigms, principles, and practices. But if you don't have ways of working, which are at a team level, all this I still see at an individual level. You could be an awesome AI guru or a 100x engineer, but your team should agree with that. So I would suggest that I'll not read all of this today, but think about negotiating and documenting the practices that you do on the ground and call them practices, right? It could be practices, it could be tools, it could be principles, but ensure that you agree to all of this. So think of this as a good talking point to say that if we code with AI, are we responsible for it? Does committing in small testable steps help? How to stick to modern engineering practices, and so on. And also this characterization test, right? I define legacy code as code that you create today, but it doesn't have tests. Maybe at the end, some of the code became legacy for us. But yeah, if you don't have tests, write tests first. You need to characterize the baseline behavior of the application, and only then you can improve it and so on. Yeah. And I think all of these are self-explanatory, but yeah, think of it as you own the code. You need to follow the discipline that you always knew. You need to understand how to prompt better. And once the AI becomes part of your product, you need to understand things around knowledge cutoff dates and writing evals and so on. Yeah. So if you didn't know, Equal Experts follow something called a team charter. So every person who joins our project is expected to have like ways of working in terms of build hygiene or core pairing hours or stand-up time and ways of working that is including AI now. So we need to, in a way, agree to it, right? So that way the team knows that it has to be done. Lastly, I will leave you with this. AI definitely lowers the cost of action. You saw things being created like an impressive speed, but also I think it depends on the quality of your decisions. If you make a good decision in P1 when I spoke to ChatGPT and I made a change to whether the enum was called hand or move, or if I came to P2, I recovered on my own because the code failed and I was able to nudge and show it the correct actually patterns. If I'd accepted everything there, your quality of decisions is going to amplify either negatively or like positively. Yeah. And lastly, I'll leave you with this in case you're making a move. Please scan this for a Google form. It's anonymous. It's like a 2-minute survey. Tell me how I did today, what you liked, what you didn't like. Maybe I can refine this talk. I can do the same talk again or pair with one of you. Or if you want me to talk about something in detail, let me know so I can get some ideas as well. Yeah, that's the actual talk and we can open it up for questions now. Yeah.
So I'm actually a product manager, so I don't code every day. But I wanted to understand how CFRs, like maybe scalability or handling of PII information and all of that, revolve around this AI shift.
Yeah. So I don't think that is changing because unless as you plan for your story, if every story has a mix of functional requirements and then non-functional requirements as well, that's how it needs to be delivered. I mean, in my experience, I have never seen it happen that you will get a technical debt sprint to fix CFRs. CFR should be budgeted within every iteration. Maybe 80% goes to functionality, 20% goes to CFRs, and you shift with it. And AI brings its own dimensions, like I said, in terms of if you send in a prompt, where does it get processed? So we have some government clients based out of UK, wherein there the prompting sort of paradigm shouldn't move out of UK. So we need to figure out if we need to, can we use cursor? Should we use intermediaries like AWS Bedrock? So we send prompts to that layer. And whatever other things around security, data at rest, data in motion, all of them apply still. Like it's not going to go away. In a way, it's going to become a lot more complex. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Hi, Chana. I'm Nitish. I'm a senior developer.
If you could speak up a bit, Nitish.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. I think it's not an amplifying mic. I think, right? It's a recording mic. Okay. You need to talk louder.
Oh, is it okay? Yeah. Fine. So my question is, we build through AI, right? So we build through AI and then commit the code, and then we raise a PR, right? PR again goes to another coding agent, and then it analyzes the code, then it writes it comments again, right? So here we are not building the confidence from the developer side, right? When developer writes his own code, he's building the confidence. Now when developer commits his code, there is no confidence from the developer, right? Whatever I committed now, I'm not confident about it. Okay. Is it good? Is it bad? Because many of the micro decisions what we take, right, when we write the code manually, it lies in our hand.
Yeah.
But we commit the code, the micro decisions is transferred to an AI. So I want to understand from the management perspective, how confident are you when it comes AI written code? How confident are you when developers commit their code? So I want a management perspective from it.
Yeah, I think this, in a way, I think I would say, don't do anything that is uncomfortable today. Start small. Start with paradigm 1. Start thinking with AI as a partner, right? As a thinking partner, and document all the learnings that you had first. Then go to paradigm 2 and so on. I would say these paradigms are sort of a gated sort of a movement. Like you go from 1 to 6. You should not start at 6. I would say start with 1 first. And if you go back like 10, 20 years ago, my first coding language was .NET. But in college, I learned C. So moving to a managed environment was very difficult. How do I trust the garbage collector? Why are we doing this? So, and then it came on to when iPhone was launched. How do you create a mobile app? How do you move away from SOAP to REST? Then it went on to DevOps pipelines. And then also like React. React is in a way kind of functional. How do I trust a shadow DOM to render things correctly? And now it's coming back to server-side rendering. So that way, I mean, one is you learn enough, experiment enough. But if you're doing it in like production, start small so that you know that like whatever you said, that as a human, like I have confidence. I don't trust that. I don't trust person A, person B coming, pairing on a Friday, and there is an RCB match going on, and they want to go early. I don't know if you can trust that everything has been followed. So you transfer trust to the structure. The structure could be the SonarQube is there to look at code quality, linting is there, and so on, right? So you need to again figure out, can the trust structures that applies to humans, can they apply to agents also? But today, if 2 people are committing, there is no structural trust. The same thing are going to apply to AI also. Fair?
Right, but
Yeah.
I mean, follow-up question is like, what happens is, say, a developer, I mean, the perspective is completely different, right?
Yeah.
And when we come from the management perspective, there is a competition around the management. For
Yeah.
example, like Equal Experts has some domain expertise.
Yeah.
There are other 10 such companies.
Correct.
Now, the management pushes to the development side that I want this shipped early.
Yeah.
So when you do that, the confidence from the developer keeps on reducing with a short period of time, right? You want a product shift within a month. That is not possible from a regular development. But you say that there is AI, use AI, give me a product, I want to ship it fast. So there is a cycle, right, that keeps breaking when there is short time for a developer to build something.
Agree. See, I think this is more of a pain point or a comment from you. No, I don't think it's a question. But what I say is, if I can be free,
not a question.
if the manager can pair with you to write the code with AI, it's a good start. Then we'll know where we can get to. First point. And secondly, AI strategy everybody has. Everybody wants to spend money on tools and AI, but nobody understands how the AI is going to make money for them. So connecting AI strategy to business strategy is still, I think, pending. Like, can we actually trim down the cost per feature? Can we actually trim down the time to market? And going to market, are there bottlenecks outside coding? Coding is one thing, right? But are there governance, regulation, quality testing, product management? Are everything going faster? And does the customer actually need it even? So I think there are a lot more things to do. I would say push back if you can, be a little brave or show evidence that using AI and spending money on AI doesn't mean whatever I did in 3 days can be done in like 3 minutes. And if it is 3 minutes, getting to that 3 minutes might take 3 months because I need to build a harness first. It's not possible like in the first go. So I think you had a question.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, how did you make the choice of an IDE for every paradigm? What was the thinking that went behind it?
I didn't think. I thought I'll use everything and show you how it is. And the idea today was to say that there are two kinds of IDEs. One is a AI native IDE like Cursor or Devin, Lovable, wherein everything has been built from the ground up, and you don't need a plugin for it. It's based on AI. You use AI for it, right? And some IDEs like a VS Code support multiple languages. So as being part of the training team, for me, if I take VS Code, I can be confident I can serve a data engineer, observability engineer, etc., etc. They can code in Rust or Python or .NET and so on, right? So that's why like VS Code plugins are sometimes very helpful. And RuCode, you didn't find a feature wherein I'm typing the code, RuCode cannot follow you. And that is only like in actually GitHub Copilot. So you could have used VS Code and brought in plugins, or you use IntelliJ and bring in plugins. That's like one way of working. Second is to go to the IDE itself, like Claude Code and so on. There are one is, I think earlier, maybe 10, 20 years ago, Visual Studio was the primary dominant thing. Now VS Code and then front end sort of languages are like dominating. Soon AI native ideas are going to dominate. I would say try everything. I have tried VS Code and RuCode for 1 year. I have tried Cursor for about 3 months, and I have tried I think IntelliJ and Juni and IntelliJ and then Copilot for about 6 months. I think for the last 2 years I've been like trying stuff, and I'm trying like Cursor, then IntelliJ, VS Code, Claude Code. I've only tried for the last 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
So in a way, I think one is cost. There are many free tools. I would say if the free tools are there, you can get started. And if the enterprise is making bigger bets and they can bring in a lot more power to the ground, then like Claude makes sense. I would say if money is not the primary factor and the people are doing very complex work, start with Claude. If money is a factor, it's more of a hobby, start with VS Code.
Okay. So whatever IDE you used today is not necessarily the best one for that particular paradigm.
Hopefully I didn't say that. No. Yeah. No.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But really outstanding session.
Oh, thank you. The first demo was, don't know what. Yeah. Hari.
Chance, in a situation where, there's a team that uses multiple tools, okay, how do you standardize these repo-related harnesses across these tools? For example, for Claude, you have Claude.md. But let's say, somebody who uses Cursor, there's Cursor rules. And, for RuCode, there might be other things. So how do you standardize your harnessing techniques?
I don't know. I'm going to let like Prashant come in maybe. You want to answer, Prashant?
You can use agent.md. That actually gives you across almost all these tools, actually supports it. So agents.md is very similar to cloud.md. So you can actually put things in agent.md and all these tools is going to pick up from agent.md. And other than that, like say for example, the cloud skills and things like that. Usually right now these days it's cross, like Cursor do support cloud folders and things like that. So some places it is there, but it is a gap anyways. If you have a team who is using Cursor as well as Cloud as well as Copilot, agents.md is your best bet.
Just to add to that, Hari, I think that's why I didn't talk about practices. Hopefully one day I'll get to a point where I can talk about engineering practices in AI. As of now, it's more of paradigms and principles. So these practices are what people don't know yet. And as you do is when you know. I'm thinking maybe in the future there'll be a repository only for agentic workflows and every tool can look at that repository maybe. Or there is sufficient like understanding among different vendors that they're going to have one common spec and everybody is going to honor that. So today it's a similar, right? If a front-end developer works on VS Code, back-end developer works on IntelliJ, how do you have the same rule set for them? But there are sufficient tools in the market like SonarQube and Linters and so on that you get to that point. So I think I would say do and learn and then keep thinking about that, because the primary output is not only the code and tests now. You need to look at the agentic workflows, and if you can leave the code base in a better shape for the future developer to come in, and AI is not as difficult as to pick up, like it's a good thing. Any other questions? Awesome, folks. You've been a good audience. Thank you so much. Enjoyed my talk today.